Northeast Arkansas News is brought to you by Glenn Sain.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for your Northeast Arkansas Late News. I'm Josh Egbert.
And I'm Meredith Mitchell. The city of Trumann gearing up to handle a major blow to the community as Truman EMS prepares to shut its doors for good this week.
Northeast Arkansas' Simone Jamison has more on the impact on first responders and how they plan to move forward.
The city of Trumann loses an option for emergency care this week. Truman Emergency Medical Services confirmed its closing with a Facebook post amidst shock and disappointment. They could not be reached for comment. The Truman EMS will officially close its doors to ambulance operations on Saturday, June 16th. I reached out to both the Truman mayor and the head of Medic One Ambulance here in Truman, who declined an on-camera interview, but expressed their deepest condolences for the closure of this business and for the impact that it will have in this community. Truman EMS is one of two major ambulance service providers for the region, the second being Medic One Ambulance. The closing is expected to shift emergency care and call volumes over to the Trumann Fire Department. Fire Chief Revis Kemper says his team is prepared for the increase.
The fire department does provide basic medical service on the first responder level. So as far as medical coverage and ambulance being available, we're still covered. It's not going to change. We have 6 paid firefighters. 4 of those firefighters work 24-hour shifts. We have 14 volunteers, so we have 20 guys total.
Kemper says emergency calls for the department had dropped in the last 6 to 8 months, but that now the call to action is critical.
You know, it's always a bad day when a business shuts down, especially when a business is local. And of course, it hits home with us with it being an emergency service.
Medic One Ambulance is expected to continue its service to the area. Kemper says adjustments will be made accordingly. For Northeast Arkansas News, I'm Simone Jameson.
Well, some strong storms passed through the area earlier tonight, causing some damage out there. This video taken around 7 o'clock tonight of a couple power lines that were actually blown down. Jonesboro Police, Fire Department, and Suddenlink workers all rushed to repair those power lines. Now, this cleanup taking place at the intersection of East Highland Drive and South Caraway Road. We want to check in with meteorologist Andrew Kozak, who's in for Chris tonight. And Andrew, those storms have now moved out of our area.
Yeah, and Futurecast radar continues to show that move out toward the Memphis area, crossing the river, and as we head toward 10 o'clock tonight, they should be completely out of the area. Straight line winds, though, caused that damage. Just goes to show you don't need tornado warnings to have damage like that. Overnight, we're going to continue to see those thunderstorms and showers kind of diminish a bit and move off toward the east. Yeah, we can't rule out a sprinkle or two, but the severe weather threat is certainly over at this point. All right, so let's talk about today. We reached a high of 96 degrees before the storms came in. The normal 87. So 9 degrees above where we should be. The record 106. We weren't near that today, but it certainly felt very hot. Those temperatures all in the low to mid 90s. Little Rock 92, Monticello 96. A little cooler north and west. Fort Smith and Bentonville, those thunderstorms came through a little earlier. That kind of knocked the top off. Now, as we head into your Wednesday, we're going to start off with partly sunny skies that could see once again another firing of a couple of thunderstorms in the afternoon with a high temperature of 91. Certainly that wet ground and a cloudier start will suppress that temperature just a bit. Coming up, more heat, humidity, and your next chance of storms. Your full forecast in just a few minutes.
Jonesboro's first land bank commission met for the second time today. The city approved the land bank back in December of last year. The commission went over bylaws today that were inspired from a land bank in Little Rock, but altered to best fit Jonesboro. Their goal is to revitalize certain areas that are being underserved. The commission began to discuss the importance of areas they can focus on. The bylaws are being forwarded to the next city council meeting for approval with one condition.
We have the ability to go back and work on our priorities and policies still. That's a document that needs to be looked at. It's going to help us create neighborhood plans. It's going to let us know how we're going to sell property, how we're going to decide who to sell it to. So that's something that we need a little more time to address. I don't think after 2 meetings we're ready to make that decision yet.
The commission will be visiting Little Rock next week to learn more on how they can run their land bank.
The Truman Food Pantry helps supply locals with food that they may need, but today the pantry needs your help stocking its shelves for the summer months. The food pantry needs some specific items to meet the community's needs. The items include canned vegetables or meats, peanut butter, dried beans, infant formula and cereal, rice, and dried milk. The president of the Truman Food Pantry says the inventory is low and the cost of food is going up.
It has a very big impact. We serve about 400 families a month. And during the summer months, when the children are out, the need goes up considerably. So this is also one of the times of the year where we have a hard time keeping food on our shelves.
Now to donate, just contact Terry Dunham at TrumanFoodPantry.org or visit their Truman Food Pantry Facebook page.
You can help keep a local health center running in exchange for a sweet treat.
Northeast Arkansas's Alexis Padilla tells us about the Jonesboro Church Health Center's annual Peach Drive.
For the last 26 years, the Jonesboro Church Health Center has been on a mission to help others. Unlike other hospitals, their doors are open exclusively to those without health insurance.
Even in today's age of the Affordable Care Act, there are still many people who don't have health insurance. Most of them are working. They can't afford health insurance, even with Obamacare. So we're here to provide health care to those people.
In order to keep helping these patients, the center needs the community's help. They are holding their annual peach fundraiser. They are selling boxes of peaches straight from an orchard in Georgia. The fruit will be packed into a refrigerated truck and delivered straight to your door. This fundraiser is what keeps the Jonesboro Church Health Center open. It costs $125 for a box of peaches. While the price is high, it's the only fundraiser the center has, and it only comes once a year.
I mean, if we did not have this peach drive and we weren't as successful as we are each year, our doors would not be able to stay open. It's what sustains us.
They are hoping to sell 530 boxes. While the peaches will not be here until August, the deadline to order is on July 15th. Since majority of the workers are volunteers, all the funds raised go towards supplies.
Flu vaccinations or diabetes test strips or just something like that, like all of the materials we need to be able to provide our patients health care. That's where the money goes towards.
For Northeast Arkansas News, I'm Alexis Padilla.
And you can order your peaches by calling the health center or online at jonesborochc.com.
Jonesboro's Human Development Center is looking to gardening as a way of improving the quality of life for those with intellectual disabilities across the state. The center hosted a garden tour with leaders of disabled communities across Arkansas. They gave a perspective on how they can advance the quality of life for individuals with special needs using horticulture. Activities include planting, pruning, and recycling. Superintendent Steve Farmer believes that gardening is an effective tool in teaching HDC residents independence.
We're trying to move people from the most restrictive environment to the least restrictive environment. But along with that, we would like them to have the skills to maintain that lifestyle.
The Human Development Center provides housing, speech therapy, and full-time nursing for 108 disabled individuals.
Well, as Andrew mentioned a few minutes ago, temperatures are expected to be hot later this week and humid, and you may need to take some precautions to stay safe outside.
Dr. Ryan Stanton has some tips in this week's edition of What's Going Around.
I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton, and it's time to find out what's going around. With high temperatures and outdoor activities, we are seeing heat-related conditions landing in the emergency department. Whether it's those that work out in the heat or those spending a little too much time in the sun for fun, the heat can have serious risks and can be our enemy. The risks of heat-related illness include minor conditions such as heat cramps, all the way up to the potentially fatal heat stroke. All of these depend on heat, exposure, hydration, and our body's ability to maintain temperature control. When working or play out in the heat, it's very important to start off hydrated. Hydrate throughout the day, take frequent breaks, and seek respite if you start to feel poorly. Those at highest risks are going to be the very young, elderly, and those not accustomed to the heat, as well as those with medical conditions or medications that make them more prone to heat-related illness. Heat-related conditions are a progression as the body's normal systems become overwhelmed, eventually resulting in symptoms and complications. The biggest risk is heat stroke, which is a complete overwhelming of the normal regulatory systems with significant fever, dehydration, disruption of normal function, and altered mental status. The confusion or altered mental status is the hallmark of heat stroke and signals that the patient is at significant immediate risk. The challenge is that heat stroke makes the victim unable to recognize the symptoms or seek help. This is a situation where those nearby must recognize and take quick action. This is especially true when dealing with sensitive populations such as the elderly and shut-ins that may not have adequate air conditioning or loss of power in their homes. As the mercury rises, so do the risks of heat illness, and we must take every step to protect ourselves and those around us. You can join the conversation at our What's Going Around page on Facebook or at Everyday Med on Twitter. Until next time, I'm Dr. Ryan Stanton, and that's What's Going Around.
Well, still to come tonight, President Trump and North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un wrapped up a summit in Singapore.
They agreed to start denuclearizing the Korean Peninsula, what that agreement means, and reaction from lawmakers.
And after a round of showers and thunderstorms that even caused damage tonight across the Jonesboro area, we're finally starting to see that move off toward the east. A look at your Futurecast radar and a look at your 7-day plan. Your forecast is on its way.
Now, Northeast Arkansas weather.
Good Tuesday evening, meteorologist Andrew Kozak here. No doubt a pretty busy late afternoon and evening with showers and thunderstorms that move through the area. Now, of course, we're watching them move off toward the east. So take a look at the time there. In the middle of the night, we'll still be watching them across portions of West Tennessee into the Memphis area. But then as we head into tomorrow morning, we'll most likely see not only the rain move out, but even the clouds starting to dissipate as well. Look at the highs today. They were hot before the rain came in, of course, and cooled them off. Little Rock coming in at 92, Searcy coming in around 92, and Jonesboro at 94 degrees. Some areas did near Jonesboro get up to around 95, 96, and it certainly felt even warmer than that this afternoon in a lot of that heat and humidity. So let's talk about the planner for tomorrow. We start off with temperatures in the 70s, 80s, and then low 90s tomorrow. The only thing keeping us just a little cooler tomorrow would be the fact that we have a pretty wet ground from all the heavy rain that came through, and that actually helps to slow things down when the sun tries to heat things up during the day. If you had a dry ground, it'd be much easier to see those temperatures soar, but that'll put a little bit of a lid on the temperature due to all that rain. But of course, the humidity levels, they're going to stay in the 70s all day long, so that sultry, uncomfortable feeling, that's going to be with us for tomorrow and for quite some time. So more heat and humidity, that's the first thing that we're tracking. Also, some scattered showers and thunderstorms Wednesday and again on Thursday. Probably not as severe or strong as we had today, but we'll still be watching it. And then as we head into your Friday, find a little bit more sunshine and less of a chance of showers and storms. Here's the forecast map for tomorrow. Two ingredients. Again, we have the heat and we have the humidity. Now we're a little closer to the Gulf when you start getting in on those south and southeasterly winds. So that really helps to pop up those showers and storms. Tomorrow, the best chance of it should be mainly east of Jonesboro, but we still most likely will have some rain, at least in the area tomorrow afternoon around the same time. In the meantime, we are still going to be looking at the influence of that western heat. So again, hazy, hot, humid with a chance of storms, kind of a Floridian pattern, and we're in it for quite some time, not going to change much. Maybe not until the end of the week when we have a bit of a break. Overnight tonight, Paragould 74, Jonesboro 75, Truman coming in at 75 degrees, Corning 74. For everybody, partly cloudy, kind of a humid evening once again, and most of us will definitely need the air conditioning. It will feel closer to 80 degrees pretty much the entire evening. So again, tomorrow to plan things out, first thing in the morning, 77, around 7 o'clock, partly sunny skies, just a slight chance of a shower, maybe a rumble of thunder in the early afternoon. We're going to say between a 30 and 20% chance, probably diminishing a bit toward 5 o'clock. A few showers and thunderstorms. Again, your high temperature, 91 degrees. All right, here's a look at your 7-day plan. Now, we're going to start things off, of course, pretty warm tomorrow, but as we head into the next few days after that, we get even hotter. We're talking sunshine on Friday, but the trade-off, will be without any clouds or showers to cool us down. We're just going to soar right back up into the mid-90s. 95 will feel closer to 100 to 104 on Friday. Now, the rest of the week's forecast and weekend forecast looks like this. Saturday, even hotter. I think Saturday is going to be one of those days where it's just going to be downright dangerous to be outside for any long amount of time. If you work outside or anything like that, stay inside. Next week, we start to cool off a bit, but we keep it in the 90s, overnight lows in the 70s.
Say, find any pool or air conditioner you can get your hands on and stay there.
Yeah, it's not fun to be outside, especially early this weekend.
All right, Andrew, thanks so much. We'll stay with us. There's still more to come tonight here on Northeast Arkansas News.
Capitol Hill is responding to the historic meeting between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. I'm Nikki Batiste at the White House with the reaction, which is both hopeful and cautious.